You were not born to beg for what already belongs to you. Let that sink in. You were not created to live on your knees, hoping someone notices you, praying someone validates you, waiting for permission to become who you already are. You are walking around like a beggar when you were born royalty. You are living like a slave when the keys to the kingdom are already in your hand. And the tragedy is not that you don't have it. The tragedy is that you have it and you don't know it. You have it and you're not using it. You have it and you're acting like you don't. Listen to me very carefully. The way you act determines what you attract. The way you carry yourself determines what comes to you. If you act broke, you will stay broke. If you act defeated, you will remain defeated. If you act like a victim, the world will treat you like one. But if you start acting like you deserve the very thing you're praying for, if you start moving like the answer is already on the way, if you start living like the blessing is already in motion, then everything around you will begin to shift. You see, most people are waiting to feel deserving before they act deserving. That's backwards. You don't wait to feel confident before you walk into the room. You walk into the room and confidence follows. You don't wait until you have the money to think like a wealthy person. You start thinking like a wealthy person and the money finds you. You don't wait until you're successful to act successful. You act successful and success meets you there. But here's the problem. You've been taught to be humble. You've been taught to stay small. You've been taught that wanting more is greedy, that believing in yourself is pride, that declaring your worth is arrogance. And so you shrink. You apologize for taking up space. You minimize your gifts. You hide your light because you're afraid someone will call you prideful. Let me tell you something. There is a difference between arrogance and knowing who you are. Arrogance is loud because it's insecure, but confidence is quiet because it's certain. Arrogance compares. Confidence creates. Arrogance needs validation. Confidence needs nothing but truth. When a lion wakes up in the jungle, does it look around and see who's watching? Does it ask permission to roar? Does it apologize for being a lion? No. It acts like what it is. It doesn't try to be a lion. It is a lion. And because it carries itself like a lion, everything in the jungle responds. The gazelle runs. The hyena backs away. The forest bows. Not because the lion is cruel, but because the lion knows its nature. And you were created with a nature too. You were designed with intention. You didn't accidentally show up on this earth. There is no such thing as an accidental birth in the mind of the Creator. You were dreamed before you were born. You were planned before you were conceived. You were assigned before you arrived. And everything you need to fulfill your purpose was placed inside you before you took your first breath. But somewhere along the way, life convinced you otherwise. Somebody told you that you weren't good enough. Somebody rejected you, betrayed you, overlooked you. Somebody made you feel small, and you believed them. You took their opinion and made it your identity. You took their rejection and made it your reality. You took their limitation and made it your ceiling. And now you're living beneath who you really are, not because you don't have it, but because you don't believe it. Let me tell you a secret that will change your life. You will never rise above the image you have of yourself. You will never go beyond what you believe you deserve. If you see yourself as average, you will produce average results. If you see yourself as ordinary, you will live an ordinary life. But if you see yourself the way your Creator sees you, if you see yourself as chosen, as equipped, as destined, as necessary, then your whole life will start to rearrange itself to match that vision. The problem is not your situation. The problem is your perspective. The problem is not what you have. The problem is what you think you deserve. You're sitting in a palace acting like a prisoner. You're holding a treasure acting like you're broke. You're filled with potential acting like you're powerless. And it's time to stop. It's time to wake up. It's time to act like you deserve it. Now let me be clear. I'm not talking about entitlement. Entitlement says the world owes me something. Entitlement sits back and demands. Entitlement complains and criticizes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about alignment. I'm talking about stepping into the truth of who you were created to be and refusing to settle for anything less. I'm talking about carrying yourself in a way that honors the investment that was made in you. I'm talking about living with the dignity that matches your design. Think about it like this. When a manufacturer creates a product, they don't create it and then wonder what it's for. They design it with a purpose. They build it for a function. And everything about that product reflects its purpose. A plane is built to fly. A ship is built to sail. A seed is built to grow. And when that product is used for what it was made for, it works perfectly. But when you try to use it for something else, it breaks, it malfunctions. It frustrates you. You are the same way. You were manufactured with a purpose. You were built for something specific. And when you try to live outside of that purpose, nothing works. You feel empty. You feel stuck. You feel like something is missing. And that's because you're not operating in your design. You're not walking in your truth. You're not acting like you deserve the life you were created to live. So how do you start? You start by changing the way you see yourself. You start by rejecting every lie that told you that you were not enough. You start by standing in front of the mirror and declaring the truth, even if you don't feel it yet. Even if your bank account says otherwise. Even if your past says otherwise. Even if people around you say otherwise. You speak it. You decree it. You act like it. Because here's what happens. When you start acting like you deserve it, your mind starts believing it. When your mind starts believing it, your actions start reflecting it. When your actions start reflecting it, your results start proving it. And when your results start proving it, the world starts responding to it. You see, people treat you the way you treat yourself. If you don't respect yourself, they won't respect you. If you don't value yourself, they won't value you. If you don't believe in yourself, they won't believe in you. But the moment you start acting like someone who deserves to be here, someone who has something to offer, someone who was created on purpose for a purpose, people will start treating you differently. Doors will start opening. Opportunities will start appearing. Favor will start following you. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but you don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know the mistakes I've made. You don't know the pain I've carried. You're right. I don't know your story, but I know this. Your past does not define your future. Your failure does not disqualify your purpose. Your pain does not cancel your potential. In fact, everything you've been through was preparing you for everything you're about to step into. The enemy of your destiny is not your struggle. It's your belief that your struggle disqualifies you. It's your belief that because you fell, you can't get back up. It's your belief that because you failed, you're a failure. Let me tell you something. Falling down does not make you a failure. Staying down does. A failure is not someone who tried and didn't succeed. A failure is someone who never tried at all. You have scars? Good. That means you survived. You have wounds? Good. That means you fought. You have pain? Good. That means you're still alive. And as long as you're still breathing, you still have purpose. As long as your heart is still beating, your assignment is still active. As long as you're still here, it's not over. But you have to start acting like it. You have to start moving like someone who believes their breakthrough is coming. You have to start talking like someone who knows their season is shifting. You have to start walking like someone who understands that delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it's locked. Just because you haven't seen the fruit yet doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. There's a principle you need to understand. A seed, when it's planted, goes into darkness. It's buried. It's covered. It looks like it's dead. And for a while, nothing happens. You can't see anything. You can't measure anything. You start doubting. You start wondering if you wasted your time. But underneath the surface, something is happening. The shell is breaking. The roots are forming. The life is preparing. And then one day, when the time is right, it breaks through the soil. And what was hidden becomes visible. What was buried becomes beautiful. What looked dead becomes alive. That's your life right now. You're in the soil. You're in the dark season. You're in the waiting room. And it feels like nothing is happening. But underneath everything, you can see something is forming. Your character is developing. Your strength is building. Your purpose is taking shape. And when the time is right, you're going to break through. You're going to emerge. You're going to rise. And everyone who counted you out will see what you've always known. You were never finished. You were just being prepared. So stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop feeling guilty for dreaming big. Stop shrinking to make other people comfortable. You were not created to fit in. You were created to stand out. You were not created to blend. You were created to shine. And every time you dim your light to make someone else feel bad about their darkness, you rob the world of what it needs from you. The world doesn't need another copy. The world needs the original. The world doesn't need you to be like everyone else. The world needs you to be you, because there is something in you that no one else has. There is a gift in you that no one else carries. There is a voice in you that no one else speaks. And if you don't use it, it will die with you. If you don't release it, the world will never know what it missed. And let me tell you, that's the real tragedy. The real tragedy is not dying. The real tragedy is living your whole life and never becoming who you were created to be. The real tragedy is getting to the end and realizing you spent all your time trying to be someone else. The real tragedy is standing before your Creator one day and hearing Him say, I gave you everything you needed. Why didn't you use it? So let me ask you, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Permission? You already have it. Approval? You already have it. Confidence? It comes by acting, not by waiting. You're waiting to feel ready, but you will never feel ready. You're waiting to feel qualified, but you will never feel qualified. You're waiting for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment is now. It's always now. It's only now. The people who change the world are not the most talented. They're not the most educated. They're not the ones with the most resources. They're the ones who decided to act like they deserve to be there. They're the ones who walked into rooms they weren't invited to. They're the ones who spoke up and no one asked them to. They're the ones who started before they were ready, who kept going when it was hard, who refused to quit when everyone told them to. And you know what? Most of them were terrified. Most of them didn't know what they were doing. Most of them felt like imposters. But they acted anyway, they moved anyway, they spoke anyway, and the world made room for them. Not because they were perfect, but because they were bold. You see, boldness is not the absence of fear. Boldness is acting in spite of fear. Boldness is saying, I'm scared, but I'm going anyway. I don't have all the answers, but I'm starting anyway. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm trusting anyway. That's boldness. And that's what changes everything. Now, here's the part that's going to make you uncomfortable. You ready? The reason you're not where you want to be is not because of other people. It's not because of the economy. It's not because of your background. It's not because of your circumstances. The reason you're not where you want to be is because you haven't acted like you deserve to be there. You've been waiting for someone to give you permission. You've been waiting for someone to believe in you. You've been waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity. And while you've been waiting, life has been passing you by. Let me tell you the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to knock on your door and hand you your destiny. No one is going to wake you up and tell you it's time. You have to do that. You have to wake yourself up. You have to push yourself. You have to believe in yourself when no one else does. You have to act like the person you want to become, even when it feels like you're pretending. Because you're not pretending. You're rehearsing. You're practicing. You're becoming. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you start acting different, you start feeling different. The moment you start moving different, things start shifting. The moment you start speaking different, doors start opening. Not because you change your situation, but because you change yourself. And when you change yourself, your situation has no choice but to change with you. Think about this. A thermostat doesn't respond to the temperature. A thermostat sets the temperature. A thermometer responds. It reacts. It adjusts. But a thermostat decides. It declares. It determines. And everything else in the room has to adjust to it. You need to stop being a thermometer, reacting to everything around you, and start being a thermostat, setting the standard for your life. When you walk into a room, you should change the atmosphere. When you speak, you should shift the conversation. When you show up, people should feel something different. Not because you're loud, not because you're arrogant, but because you carry something. You carry purpose. You carry vision. You carry the certainty that you were created for something greater than mediocrity. And mediocrity is the enemy. Let me tell you something about mediocrity. Mediocrity is not the opposite of excellence. Mediocrity is the acceptance of less. Mediocrity is knowing you can do better and choosing not to. Mediocrity is settling for comfort when you were built for greatness. Mediocrity is playing small because playing big is scary. And mediocrity will kill your soul faster than failure ever will. Because at least failure means you tried. Mediocrity means you didn't even bother. You know what's worse than failing? Wondering. Wondering what could have been. Wondering what would have happened if you had tried. Wondering who you could have become if you had believed. Don't let that be your story. Don't get to the end of your life and realize you spent it wondering instead of doing. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to make a decision right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Right now. Decide that you're done living beneath your potential. Decide that you're done waiting for permission. Decide that you're done making excuses. Decide that from this moment forward, you're going to act like you deserve the life you were created to live. And let me tell you what's going to happen. People are going to question you. People are going to doubt you. People who know your past are going to remind you of it. People who are comfortable with the old you are going to resist the new you. Let them. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them judge. Because their opinion of you is not your reality. Their limitation is not your ceiling. Their fear is not your future. In fact, let me tell you something about people who criticize you for rising. They're not upset because you're changing. They're upset because you're reminding them that they're not angry at your growth. They're angry at their stagnation. They're not bothered by your success. They're bothered by their comfort with failure. And when you understand that, their words lose their power. You see, a lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. A plane doesn't stop flying because the chickens can't understand how it works. And you don't stop rising because people who are grounded don't believe you can fly. You were not created to convince people. You were created to become. You were not created to defend your dreams. You were created to fulfill them. And here's what I know. The moment you start acting like you deserve it, the right people will show up. The right opportunities will present themselves. The right doors will open. Not because you manipulated anything, not because you forced anything, but because when you align with your purpose, everything that belongs to your purpose starts aligning with you. You start attracting instead of chasing. You start receiving instead of begging. You start flowing instead of forcing. Because you're finally in the right position. You're finally operating in your design. You're finally acting like who you were created to be. But let me warn you, this journey is not going to be easy. Acting like you deserve it doesn't mean everything will be handed to you. It doesn't mean you won't face resistance. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. You will. There will be days when you want to quit. There will be moments when you question everything. There will be seasons when nothing makes sense. And in those moments, you have to remember this. Your feelings are not your facts. Your emotions are not your evidence. Your circumstances are not your conclusion. Just because you feel like giving up doesn't mean you should. Just because you can't see the way doesn't mean there isn't one. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, if it's hard, that's usually a sign that you're on the right path. Because anything worth having is worth fighting for. Anything worth becoming is worth enduring for. Anything worth achieving is worth sacrificing for. And let me tell you about sacrifice. Sacrifice is not losing something. Sacrifice is giving up something good for something better. Sacrifice is trading temporary comfort for permanent change. Sacrifice is letting go of who you were so you can become who you're meant to be. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, you're not ready for the next level, because every level requires a new version of you. Every season requires a different mindset. Every blessing requires a bigger capacity. You can't carry new wine in old containers. You can't build a new life with old habits. You can't step into your future holding on to your past. Something has to die for something new to be born. Some relationships have to end for new ones to begin. Some chapters have to close for new ones to open. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with outgrowing people. You have to be okay with letting go. You have to be okay with change, because change is not your enemy. Comfort is what keeps you stuck. Comfort is what makes you settle. Comfort is what convinces you that good enough is good enough. But you were not created for good enough. You were created for great. You were created for more. You were created for impact. And impact requires discomfort. Impact requires risk. Impact requires you to act like you deserve to make a difference before the world agrees. So let me ask you again. What are you waiting for? What dream are you sitting on? What gift are you hiding? What vision are you ignoring? What calling are you running from? What excuses are you making? And when are you going to stop? Because time is moving. Life is passing. Opportunities are expiring. And every day you wait is a day you lose. Every day you hesitate is a day you waste. Every day you delay is a day someone else takes the opportunity that was meant for you. Not because they were more talented, not because they were more qualified, but because they acted like they deserved it. They stepped up, they spoke up, they showed up, and the world responded. The world is not waiting for perfect people. The world is waiting for willing people. The world is not waiting for people who have it all figured out. The world is waiting for people who are willing to figure it out along the way. The world is not waiting for fearless people. The world is waiting for people who will act in spite of fear. And you are that person. You are the one the world is waiting for. Not someone else. Not someone more talented. Not someone with more resources. You, with everything you have, with everything you've been through, with everything you carry, you are exactly what the world needs. But the world will never know it until you act like it. So get up, stand up, speak up, show up, stop shrinking, stop hiding, stop waiting, stop apologizing, stop doubting, stop settling, and start acting like you deserve the life you were created to live. Start walking like someone who knows where they're going. Start talking like someone who believes what they're saying. Start moving like someone who trusts the process, because you do deserve it. Not because you're perfect, not because you've earned it, but because you were created. And creation itself is proof of purpose. You didn't create yourself. You were created. And the one who created you doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't create accidents. He doesn't produce extras. He creates masterpieces. And you are one of them. So act like it, live like it, move like it, speak like it, believe like it, and watch what happens. Watch how life responds. Watch how doors open. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how people show up. Watch how provision follows. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season. And you have a choice. You can keep living like you're waiting for permission, or you can step into the authority you already have. You can keep acting like a victim, Or you can start living like the victor you were created to be. You can keep settling for less. Or you can start demanding more, not from the world, but from yourself. Because the world will give you what you settle for. Life will give you what you tolerate. People will treat you the way you allow them to. And destiny will meet you at the level you show up. So show up like someone who deserves to be there. Act like you belong. Move like it's already yours. Live like the answer is already yes. And watch the universe conspire to prove you right. You are not here by accident. You are here on assignment. And it's time to act like it. So here we are at the end of these words, but the beginning of your new reality. And I need you to understand something before you walk away from this moment. Everything I've said to you today, every single word was not just information. It was activation. It was awakening. It was a mirror held up to show you what you've been avoiding, what you've been denying, what you've been running from. And that thing is your greatness. You've spent so much of your life making yourself smaller, dimming your light, lowering your voice, shrinking your dreams. And for what? To make other people comfortable, to avoid criticism, to protect yourself from disappointment. Let me tell you what that protection has cost you. It has cost you your joy. It has cost you your peace. It has cost you years of living in your purpose. And today, right now, that ends. I don't care what happened yesterday. I don't care what mistakes you made last week. I don't care what people said about you last year. None of that matters anymore. What matters is what you decide right now. What matters is the choice you make in this moment. Because this moment is all you have. This moment is where your power lives. This moment is where transformation begins. And transformation doesn't happen when you feel like it. Transformation happens when you decide. When you draw a line in the sand and say, enough, I'm done living like this. I'm done settling for this. I'm done accepting this. That decision, that moment of holy frustration, that righteous anger at your own mediocrity, that's when everything changes. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when conditions are perfect, right now. You see, you've been waiting for a sign. You've been waiting for permission. You've been waiting to feel ready. But here's your sign. You're still breathing. Here's your permission. You were born. Here's your readiness. You've survived everything life has thrown at you so far, which means you're stronger than you think. You've been ready. You just haven't been willing. But today, something shifted. Today, you heard something that resonated in your spirit. Today, you felt something wake up inside you that's been sleeping for too long. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. That's the universe. That's the creator. That's your destiny tapping you on the shoulder saying, it's time, not later, not someday, now. And I know you're scared. I know you're thinking about all the reasons it won't work. I know you're remembering every time you tried and failed. I know you're hearing the voices of everyone who ever doubted you. I know. But here's what I need you to know. Your fear is proof that you're about to do something important. Your doubt is evidence that you're about to level up. Your anxiety is a sign that you're standing at the edge of your comfort zone, which is exactly where you need to be. Because nothing grows in the comfort zone. Nothing transforms in the safe zone. Nothing extraordinary happens in the familiar zone. So feel the fear and move anyway. Acknowledge the doubt and speak anyway. Recognize the anxiety and act anyway. Because on the other side of that fear is everything you've been praying for. On the other side of that discomfort is the life you were created to live. On the other side of that risk is the version of you that you've always known was possible but were too afraid to become. Let me tell you what's going to happen when you start acting like you deserve it. People will notice. Opportunities will appear. Doors will open. Favor will follow. But more importantly, you will notice. You will see yourself differently. You will carry yourself differently. You will speak differently. You will think differently. And that internal shift will create an external transformation that no one can stop, no one can block, no one can deny. Because when you align with your purpose, when you step into your truth, when you act like the masterpiece you were created to be, the whole universe rearranges itself to accommodate you. Not because you're lucky, not because you're special, but because you're finally operating the way you were designed to operate. You're finally being who you were created to be. You're finally living at the level you were always meant to live. So I'm going to leave you with this. Stop waiting. Stop wondering. Stop doubting. Stop hesitating. Stop making excuses. Stop asking for permission. Stop looking for validation. Stop playing small. Stop hiding your gifts. Stop dimming your light. Stop apologizing for your greatness. Start now. Start today. Start this moment. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Start even if you're scared. Start even if you're not ready. Start even if no one believes in you. Start even if you don't fully believe in yourself yet. Just start, because the world is waiting. Your purpose is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. And time is not waiting. Every moment you delay is a moment you lose. Every day you hesitate is a day someone else takes what was meant for you. Every hour you doubt is an hour you rob from your future. You were born for this. You were created for this. You were designed for this. And you deserve this. Not because you're perfect, but because you're here. And your presence is proof of your purpose. Now go. Go and act like you deserve it, because you do. And deep down, you've always known it. It's time to live like you know it too.